Howling Goblin, a Crossout video by Dangerously Incompetent. So I've got hold of the Howl, and I was thinking, what sort of build can I put it in to take advantage of its 20% bonus damage once it's within 30 meters of the enemy? What build do I have? Do I want to try out that stays close to the enemy? I know, Mr. Plow. My Mr. Plow build, in case you haven't already seen my videos on it, well, link in the top right hand corner, is basically the Bastion cabin stuck between two armoured tracks with underslung goblins. And the goblins are short range shotguns. Not supremely short range, but they're quite short range. And I spend most of my time, I spend most of my time charging after vehicles to try and get within range and then just blamming away until they're dead and relying on the big Bastion plow at the front and the armoured tracks to take the damage so I can survive long enough to destroy my enemies. My Mr. Kylo build is conceptually the same as Mr. Plow and is roughly the same in terms of power score and durability. So let's just swap between the two, you can see, and has the same armoured tracks, toughness on the side, the same for underslung goblins. It's got coolers and radiators the same, but instead of the Bastion's heavily armoured plow on the front that reduces all types of damage apart from energy weapons, I've just got a plain old train plow and some frontal protection systems for a bit of armour. Not as effective as the Bastions, but better than nothing. And then of course the Howl cabin with its extra damage. However, the Howl extra damage isn't as useful as you might think, because you don't get within 30 meters and suddenly you're doing 20% extra damage. It powers up over 10 seconds. You've got to stay within 30 meters of the enemy for 30 seconds before you get your 20% bonus, your full 20% bonus. And in practice, I start shooting my enemies outside 30 meters, and by the time I've got within 30 meters and the bonus damage has powered up, I've already wrecked the enemy with the natural damage of the 4 goblins. And so I'm not using the extra bonus damage, the Howl's bonus, very, very often. It's only when I come up against really tough opponents, like those who use Goliath tracks, where I just push up against the Goliath tracks and go bam, bam, blam, 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 and eventually the Goliath track falls off and then the cabin falls away shortly after. Then I get to use a 20% extra damage, but otherwise, not really. Comparing the two builds, Mr. Kylo with the Howl and Mr. Plow with the Bastion, they're very similar. They're conceptually the same vehicle, and they play the same in battles, and they both do very well. But on balance, I would say that the armoured nature of the Bastion's plow, I get a lot more use of it than I do out of the Howl's extra damage, and that gives Mr. Plow the edge in battle.